it's cold outside, or we're gonna heat things up, because I have a lot on my mind I wanna rant to you guys about. 2024, let me tell you, there was a lot of BS on social media and the skincare dermatologic space. I mean, yeah, it's par for the course with social media, but these are 5 trends that I do not wanna see moving forward. In no particular order. Number 1, it's actually really popular back in 2022, and I had high hopes it would die out, but it's actually gotten much worse, has a stronger cult following over on TikTok. Is the trend of mouth taping. Taping your mouth shut when you go to bed at night. And I made a video cautioning against this practice before because it can be very harmful to your health. People who sing the praises of mouth taping claim all sorts of benefits, that it helps you remember to breathe through your nose more, you get better sleep. There are benefits to breathing through your nose, like it helps to filter out allergens, it helps to moisturize the air, and it helps to reduce dry mouth from mouth breathing. But what they don't tell you is that why are you breathing through your mouth in the first place when you sleep? It might be because you have something going on in your nose that limits nasal breathing properly. For example, maybe you have a deviated nasal septum, or maybe you have nasal polyps, something that's actually really common in people who have allergic conditions like asthma. If you've been breathing a lot through your mouth, it may be because you have enlarged tonsils. So by taping your mouth shut, you may not be allowing yourself to get adequate oxygenation to your brain at night, leading to apnea. The benefits of mouth taping are not substantiated by evidence. There is a small amount of research that suggests it might be helpful in certain circumstances, but that research is not conclusive, and some of the research suggests that even when people tape their mouth shut, they still end up eventually breathing through their mouth anyway, so if anything, it's just not really doing anything at all. People who suffer from gastroesophageal reflux disorder, GERD, can put themselves at risk for aspirating by preventing their mouth from opening. Aspirating gastrointestinal contents can cause problems with your lung health. If you struggle with your sleep, before turning to mouth taping, see your healthcare provider. If you snore or struggle with your sleep, see your healthcare provider. You may need a sleep study, a sleep evaluation. You can even find articles online from reputable sources saying this trend has got to go. And you may also be missing out on the opportunity to have some underlying problem, maybe with your nose or your breathing, addressed appropriately, evaluated. Social media always has to one-up itself, making even more extreme takes on the same content. And in 2024, TikTok took it a step further with what was being described as the morning shed. Going to bed, not just with your mouth taped, but all of this other kind of tape on your face.
I'm 39 years old. I stopped getting Botox over a year ago, but I do tape my face a few nights a week. And I don't have 11s. This is just to prevent horizontal lines. I lift my skin up and then I apply the tape in an upward motion.
Face taping enthusiasts claim that by taping your face, it reduces wrinkle formation. And honestly, fine. If you want to do that, by all means. In theory, it could help you to relax a bit, but honestly, you can still move these muscle groups even when they are taped. But I've seen people go as far as to claim that this is an alternative to Botox. Some people online swear up and down that by taping your face at night, that you are positioning the lymphatics closer to the blood vessels to allow for better fluid drainage out of the face. Complete reach, no evidence to support that claim. Face taping is honestly pretty harmless. I just find it annoying that people make these outlandish claims and then get offended when someone's like, no, actually, it's not the same thing as Botox. You're not actually preventing muscle contraction, limiting skin creasing that leads to dynamic wrinkles. That's not going to be addressed by taping your face. Silicone scar sheets, silicone tape can actually help smooth wrinkles by reducing transepidermal water loss, allowing for the skin to have better moisturization, and I have a whole video explaining this in detail. So using silicone scar sheets, scar tape, silicone face taping to wrinkles might actually yield some benefit. The face taping that I'm talking about is often a paper tape. It may have an adhesive to it, not the same as the silicone tapes. And what can happen with these paper tapes or plaster tapes, they're not working how people claim they do, and they can cause a lot of skin irritation as you remove the tape. Number 3, and arguably one of the most dangerous trends on this list,
This is all it takes to make your own animal-based sunscreen. So this is an improvised double boiler, just an inch of water in there that I'm gonna boil, 2 tablespoons of beeswax, half cup coconut oil, and half cup of tallow. Melt these, mix them together, and then I'm gonna add the zinc. Removed it from the heat, stir this for a couple minutes, let it cool. When it starts to get a little more mushy, use a hand mixture and whip air into it to give it more of a texture. The end product is a completely natural, highly effective, easily spreadable sunscreen that goes on your skin and will last for a very long time.
We've been spending a lot of time outside by the pool, and I realized that we ran out of sunscreen, but asked Lucky to make me some. We all burn pretty easily, so we went with something with a little bit more SPF. Combined. Once it was taken off the heat, he added some zinc oxide powder to that before whisking that all together for about a minute, just making sure that's all coming together. This went on so smooth and didn't leave a white.
Is the DIY sunscreen trend. I saw a lot of TikTok videos promoting make your own sunscreen at home. They would get like zinc oxide powder, maybe coconut oil, tallow balm, mix it all together in their kitchen and claim that it was a DIY homemade sunscreen free of toxic chemicals. Listen, you do not want to DIY your own sunscreen. This is very dangerous to attempt to do because sunscreen formulation is no easy feat. Sunscreen formulation requires a lot of work on the part of the formulator. It's actually a very challenging product to formulate a sunscreen so that the active protective ingredients form a proper film on the skin to evenly and consistently provide ultraviolet radiation protection on the skin surface. When you mix ingredients together, like zinc oxide, for example, you're not getting that good dispersion on the skin surface because these ingredients on, a microscopic, if you will, level are essentially just clumping together. So you have kind of these chunks throughout the formulation that are not going to provide that even coating on the skin. So you're gonna basically have all of these holes where you're not getting any coverage. And as a reminder, zinc oxide diaper rash cream is also not a sunscreen. It is not formulated to create that protective film on the skin of the zinc oxide particles necessary to provide reliable sun protection. I saw other DIY sunscreens that not only don't make sense, like there's no actual evidence-based active sunscreen ingredient in there, but if anything, they're going to make your skin more sensitive to the sun. For example, I saw a trend of somebody getting coconut oil and ginger and smearing it on the skin because when you use coconut oil as a sunscreen, it may in fact allow for even more ultraviolet radiation penetration in the skin. This is something that if you grew up in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s, you remember the trend of smearing like baby oil all over your skin and going out tanning to intensify the tanning effect. And the reason for this is that oil on the skin surface allows for sort of more even and consistent, almost more focused penetration of the ultraviolet rays into the skin, effectively leading to more sun damage. Because as a reminder, a tan is a type of sun damage, a form of skin injury. So the coconut oil sunscreen, not a sunscreen, more damaging. Better to not even wear sunscreen and wear like a hat, an umbrella, seek shade, those other sun protective behaviors, much better than making your own sunscreen, which you can't do effectively, and then feeling falsely reassured that your skin is protected. Number 4, surprisingly, is one of my most controversial videos, a video I put on Instagram specifically that was met with the most backlash. And that is me speaking out against the Russian manicure. Didn't get so much backlash against this on TikTok or on YouTube, but let me tell you, there is a very vocal Russian manicure enthusiastic community on Instagram that did not appreciate my video cautioning against this practice. So what is a Russian manicure exactly? Russian manicure is a dry manicure. There's no soaking involved, and it uses an electric file to remove as much as possible the dry built-up skin around the nail. So specifically like the eponychium. The eponychium is that thickened part of skin at the base of the nail. They're trying to remove cuticle, the eponychium. But the harm in doing this is that these structures help to provide a watertight seal, limiting access of moisture and microbes to the vulnerable nail matrix, that green stuff back there up under the proximal nail fold. When you remove that, not only do you open yourself up for very serious infections around the nail, but also you get stuff back there that disrupts nail growth, ultimately leading to nail ridging and all sorts of nail problems, slowing of nail growth. And even if the manicurist has the perfect sterile technique, that doesn't change the fact that once you leave that salon, well, now you're walking around with very vulnerable nails. The nail is now left very vulnerable, not just to microbes again, but to moisture, leading to nail ridging, problems with healthy nail growth. But that being said, there is such a thing as authority bias, basically saying, listen, trust me, I'm a doctor. That's a real thing, which brings me to the fifth and final cringy thing I've seen a lot, unfortunately, this past year over on TikTok, on Instagram, honestly, many different social media platforms, and that is basically doctors behaving badly, sharing blatant misinformation with their audience and not backing down when questioned about it. Don't get me wrong, I've been doing content for over 8 years now, and I know it's not always easy or straightforward to deliver the message that you want and not have it be misinterpreted. And no one's perfect, people definitely make mistakes, and so I don't want to throw a physician under the bus because maybe they had a video that wasn't the most accurate or that, wasn't necessarily what I would say. It's bound to happen. We shouldn't put anyone on a pedestal and expect people to never make a mistake. But what I'm talking about specifically is this more egregious, outright promotion of frankly incorrect information and saying sunscreen is dangerous, sunscreen is harmful, the chemicals in sunscreen.
Stop using chemical sunscreen, you guys. You see it in CVS, you think you're doing a good thing for your body or your kids' bodies. You are not. I honestly think it's better to put nothing on and cover with clothing than to use chemical-based sunscreen. Stay away from chemical sunscreens.
Which is not true. I also have seen content from physicians who maybe say something along the lines of they are skeptical about sunscreen, they want to see more information, but oh yeah, wait, I have a sunscreen supplement for you to buy. That's another type of behavior that I've seen coming from physicians where they maybe fearmonger an ingredient as part of their content consistently, whether it be a skincare ingredient or, again, sunscreen, which as a reminder is an evidence-based way to cut down your skin cancer risk and to prevent sun damage. But I've seen people lean into creating content that fearmongers around a particular ingredient, for example, only later to come out with their own skincare line or skincare brand that happens to be free of that ingredient. And they have convinced people in their audience that this ingredient should be avoided, that it's a problem, and oh wait, look, I have a solution for you. Yeah, that I don't appreciate either. And then I also saw a lot of content being created when the benzene scandal came out back in the spring. And for those who don't know what that is, basically this lab tested a bunch of benzoyl peroxide products and found benzene, a carcinogen, in them, and it was kind of sensationalized without being published in a peer-reviewed journal. And I posted content about that. Also, will link a video from Blab Muffin Beauty Science down below, which really does an excellent deep dive on the flawed science behind the benzene reports. I saw a lot of physicians jump online saying, get rid of your benzoyl peroxide products because of this, without doing any digging with regards to how that study was done. And this was a situation where it's like, I could see making a bad mistake. Maybe you overreacted to a headline and made a piece of content, but then these people oftentimes would go on to keep promoting the same message despite, chemists and other physicians saying, this paper has some serious flaws. The American Academy of Dermatology saying, there are some issues with this paper, more research is needed. We should not tell our patients to abandon benzoyl peroxide because benzoyl peroxide is a well-established acne treatment. So telling people to just get rid of their acne treatments without any kind of plan for them, it's bad not only from the perspective of you now have people scared of a perfectly safe ingredient based on one study that wasn't peer-reviewed and has flaws in it, but you're also basically encouraging your audience to abandon a treatment without reminding them to talk to the person, aka their physician or healthcare provider, who told them to use that treatment. So you're kind of inserting yourself into their treatment plan, possibly, which is not a good look for people to be doing. It's common to dog on influencers as, being quote unquote the scum of the earth. I don't think that. There are a lot of actually really great influencers out there who put a lot of effort into researching their content and, doing the best to put out accurate information. But you also have experts who are putting out damaging, misleading information as well. And these experts are also influencing influencers to promote that same problematic messaging, because the influencers are getting their information from what appears to be a credible source, a physician creating content online, and they're going to propagate that information. The other reason why I have a big problem with this is that basically now online it seems as though you can find a physician who will back up whatever your opinion is on something, whether or not it's nonsense or not. It really intensifies the echo chamber of misleading information, because people who already want to believe something, they're going to seek out things online to validate their opinion. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. When it's coming from a healthcare professional, a physician, then it really intensifies the strength of their misinformation. It also creates a divide and fuels mistrust in physicians from people who are like, yeah, I can spot your BS from a mile away. Why are these doctors coming on here and spreading lies? Clearly they don't know what they're talking about. And it goes down this path, which I've seen a lot in comment sections criticizing docs who behave badly, where the criticism starts to look like, well, this doctor is like a plastic surgeon. What do they know about X, Y, and Z? It kind of creates this feeling, this vibe that doctors are really only knowledgeable in their facet of medicine. And it ignores the fact that physicians have a base of basic medical knowledge that is just common medical knowledge. And a physician should be able to accurately speak out on actually quite a few topics that come up online. Not everything, there are some areas where things are outside of your area of expertise, but any physician should actually be able to debunk, I would say at least 75% of medical misinformation online, given the training. A physician doesn't have to be an ear, nose, and throat specialist to call out the mouth taping thing as potentially very harmful. It starts to create this narrative that physicians are only qualified in this very narrow slice of medicine, and that they shouldn't step outside of that, when in reality, a physician has a really strong foundation in general medicine, and physicians should actually be able to speak out against and debunk, I would say, at least 75% of the nonsense that is perpetuated on there. And it's a shame where we've gotten to the point where now, if as a dermatologist I speak out against something that is harmful to, say, the lungs, it's perceived as hogwash because I'm not a pulmonologist. It really weakens the medical presence online, because the whole goal of having more physicians creating content online is to help slow down the spread of misinformation. So it's not only the direct contribution to medical misinformation online that really hurts the physician or the healthcare presence online, but it also engenders more mistrust for the physicians who are creating content, even when they're doing a really good job, because people start to get the vibe like, well, you're not a neonatologist, so I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to continue to put my newborn baby outside every day in -2-degree temperatures because I read online that that's grounding. I don't need to be a neonatologist to tell you that that is a bad idea to do. All right, guys, that wraps up my 2024 rant of trends I want to see go bye-bye. Let me know in the comments, though, what trends are you sick of seeing? There were some good skincare products, however, in 2024, which, if you missed my video on the best skincare, in my opinion, of 2024, I'm going to link that video on the end slate. But if you guys like this one, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!